Alright everyone, as I'm sure you can tell, my filming situations have changed once again, but this is my temporary barracks. Should be here for, this is my barracks. I say temporary because I'm going to move again, but it's not planned. It's not going to be for a while that I'm moving again. So I'm finally here, I've landed, and the videos the upload should be more consistent, and everything should be a little more consistent now. This will be my filming room, unless the lighting situation is really awful, which I know it's bad right now, but there's nothing I can do about that. So I'm gonna see if when I get new light bulbs, if it's any better, I will film in here. If it's not, I will go outside again. You guys, I got positive feedback on that, so I'm not opposed to the idea of filming outside whatsoever. But today's video is on increasing inventory. That's the title anyways. And I basically want to just go over a few things. It's going to seem like they're mismatched, just thrown together to get to that time limit on the video. But as you know, I'm not afraid of a short video, and I just try and get out a good nice video for you guys every day. So this is stuff that I felt was connected and I thought should go together. So on your character sheet and your spell sheet, right? I feel like each character should have one of these, unless it's something really simple. But on your character sheet, it should really be the go-to information that you're going to use quite a bit. So in the standard character sheet with the six skills here and then the 18 skills there and your saving throws, armor class, speed, all this stuff, that's very good. That's a very good design. And I like that because that's stuff you're going to use quite a bit. And I feel like, I don't know if everyone does this, but I feel like casters should have casters and marshals should have, not only in the weapons category, not only just their weapons, but I feel like their go-to moves should be there. And then below that, warlocks, you should list your invocations. Anyone who has any class features like this that are kind of subject to change, I would list them there in this area. Or you could list your invocations and features, but I would have it come. I like to have my invocations right underneath my weapons block whenever I play a warlock, but I just feel like that's the best design. And really the whole point of your first page of the character sheets is to have your go-to information. So not only just your attack rolls for being a fighter and your singular dagger if you're a wizard, but your firebolt, your eldritch blast, your ray of frost, everything that you can use, and even some of your go-to spells should be on this page. With if you need any kind of blurb to remind yourself, just write it there. If you just want to have the quick list of spells right there, you can have it there. But really the first page of the character sheet is all about all that rapid fire information you're going to need. Any notes that you're going to need a lot to reference, you want them there. Right, on the secondary sheet, the spell sheet, that's all the other information that you're going to need. And I would have, even if I were like a fighter, I would try and get an alternate version that had something like my maneuvers and my uses of Indomitable and my second wind and my action surge. But speaking of fighters, I have a revised fighter on my Discord server. Go there and check it out. It's not mine. It's not entirely mine. Me and a friend of mine worked on it together. He's from the DC server. You should check out that YouTube channel as well, The Dungeon Coach. Great Discord server, very nice community there. Yeah, if you want that revised fighter, or if you should check out the revised Ranger that the DC put out, the Dungeon Coach put out. It was made by the same guy that I worked on the fighter with. It's some good subclasses. But the secondary information should have, the secondary sheet, the spell sheet should have all those information you're not gonna need to know as often. And I would also list my consumable resources there. Maybe have them on the first page too, but I would have them on the second page for tracking purposes. And then on the third page is my equipment page, and this is where I list all my equipment and whatever details, whatever notes I need. So I usually include weights, value, capacity. Like if I have caltrops, I think it's 1 gold, 2 pounds, and 40 caltrops. I'm pretty sure those are the stats for that item, but I would have that kind of thing on there. And this sheet is just for all my equipment listed out. Everything that I have, everything that I want, everything that I need is listed out. And then finally, what's most important is you need your layout, your backpack layout. Now, there's a difference between a backpack and a rucksack. Okay, and a lot of people, a lot of civilians don't know. But a rucksack it's different. It's hard to describe the difference, but it is. And you really got to differentiate whether, first off, what kind of backpack your character has, and second off, how your gear is laid out. So, when you're in the middle of combat, you're fighting for your life, and it's a 6-second round. So really, I think a lot of people overestimate the amount that one can do with a backpack in those 6 seconds. Now, drinking a health potion, a bonus action, naturally. But grabbing it and drinking it is at a bonus action. I would say if you have it in your grenade pouch or just in one of your front pockets, somewhere that's very accessible, so yeah, I would say that's bonus action. If you have it in your sustainment pouch or if you have it somewhere else in your backpack, I would say that's probably a full action, maybe probably even a full turn, because you got to take the backpack off, then you got to grab it out and drink it in 6 seconds. That's gonna be pretty difficult, and I kind of am a little bit lenient on what exactly that 6 second is. Like, if your action takes because it's not like you're moving for 6 seconds and then you freeze, right? It's not like that. It's fluid motion of everyone doing all their things throughout the whole 6 seconds of combat, or 6 seconds of the round. So if it's a little bit more than that, if it's a little bit less than that, I like that, because it to me, it makes combat feel a little more real, a little more flexible, a little more like time's actually passing as things happen, and I know reactions help with that. But still, if you have if you have something that would take a little more than 6 seconds and use a whole turn for it, it feels to me, it gives me a feeling, maybe I'm wrong, it makes me feel like the combat's a little more real, and things it feels less turn-based. And that's kind of an effect I don't like about Dungeons & Dragons. I don't want it to feel like it's turn-based. I want it to feel like it's all happening at once, right? A layout of gear is also extremely important in the background, because you gotta say what's at the bottom, what's at the top, what's on the sides, what's strapped to it. So something like drawing your weapon, right? Grabbing some rope on the side of your backpack, that'd be easy. Maybe reaching right back under the hood, like if you intentionally left your smoke bombs right here, but you got to be smart about how you're going to design your backpack and how you're going to have your backpack laid out. So I would mandate players to have a backpack sheet that's filled out, and it encourages creativity. It makes them more familiar with their gear, their character, all this good stuff. And hey, if they don't rise to the standards, there's a lot more players than DMs. And then the final thing is land navigation, right? I hear talk about the adventuring day being 8 miles of distance. 8 miles on the track is no effort. 8 miles is not far on the track. Walking 8 miles is really easy, but walking it with weight is another matter, and walking it with weight in unfamiliar terrain, navigating the land, is another matter entirely. How many of us, without any gear, without any equipment, could navigate a forest? None of us could, unless we're familiar with it. You gotta have landmarks, you gotta have signs of travel to navigate by, you gotta have some kind of tool to help you navigate. So, I have never in my life had a party do any kind of navigation beyond a survival check. And, when you're tracking something, a survival check is reasonable, because you've got landmarks, you've got things, you've got little markers to indicate to help you travel. But if you are just land navigating, trying to get from point A to point B, without a map, without a compass, without a protractor, it's going to be really difficult. And I need to do more research on how people in the old times did land navigation. I'm pretty sure they just, someone was familiar with the area and was a guide in local area. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked. Maybe you could get fancy with a compass and some rudimentary land nav, and I'm sure that happened. But it's probably the same basic concept. And I'm going to say it would be pretty easy for me to walk 16 miles. It wouldn't be that hard. And for most of us, it probably wouldn't be that hard. So I'm going to say you have 16 foot miles, right? And I'll count a foot mile as the distance that you walk, because you have walked a mile. But have you walked a mile in a straight line towards your goal? No. So my adventuring day starts off with 16 foot miles. Everything that slows you down, that holds you up, takes out some of that time. So let's say you're going for 8 hours. 16. Let's say you're going for 10. Let's say you're going from 8 to 8. So let's say you're going for 12 hours. Okay, 16 miles, 12 hours. That's a ratio. It's like 4 to 3. Okay, so 4 miles in 3 hours. That's a very slow pace. You can do that easily. You can do that all day, right? And you can speed that up a little bit too. So I'm not good at ratios. Change the ratio, just however you need to factor. But I would say you have a foot mile count of 16 at the beginning of the day, and everything that slows you down. So let's say if you get stopped for an hour, that's going to affect it by the ratio amount. So if we have the 4 to 3 ratio, we're going to lose 1.3 miles, right? And everything like this that slows you down is gonna affect your foot mile count. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to ask for a check, or at some point during the day, I'm going to ask for a check of how the navigation is going. And I'm going to ask them what tools you're using. And guys, I think you should, land navigation is a lot of fun, and it's pretty simple. All you got to do is, so you got your map right here. You've got your compass right here. You figure out north, right? And you aim your map north. Then you get your protractor, and you find your point A and point B. You find the degree you want to travel. Okay, you find your compass. you point to that many degrees, all right? And then you follow it. That's all you do. That's all you got to do to do land nav, which sounds easy. It's a little bit harder than it sounds. If you've mastered the basics, you will be good at land nav, right? But if they don't have those tools, it gets incredibly harder. So basically, I'm going to get a land nav check at certain times, and that's going to affect their progress. And there's some things you can't avoid, like there's a mountain in the way, they're not going to be able to overcome that. If there's a hidden lake, they're not going to be able to overcome that. But that's how your navigation should work. That's how your travel should work. 16 foot miles, and you alter that by the progress. Side note, if you guys want some of this information in written form, just go to my Discord and ask for that there. I know I sump the Discord a lot. And there's no one there, and I don't get it because it's a good server. But that's okay. That's fine. If y'all don't want to go, you don't have to go. But if you want the written information, it is there. It is there for you. And then finally, I feel like carrying capacity is just totally wrong, 100%. So I feel like the average person would probably struggle with 35 pounds. Hang on. So I had an idea. It was going to be 10 times 5 for your standard capacity. So let's say you had a strength of 10 times 5, 50. I feel like that's reasonable. I feel like someone who's just totally zero strength, not really trained in rucking at all. And when I mention this carrying capacity, I am referring to rucking, because if you're carrying that weight on you for a long time, you're going to feel it very fast. Now, if you guys don't believe me, just try it out, okay? Get a backpack, get something, put some weights in it, put it on, and walk 4 miles. It's going to be difficult for you unless you're in good shape. And I feel like 10 strength is a reflection of good shape, and by good shape I mean not unhealthy. So if you're not unhealthy, if you have a strength of 10, 10 times 5, 50, that's your standard carrying capacity. That's what you can walk around with all day and be fine, okay? And then again, 10 times, or strength times 15, so 10 times 15, 150. This is your quick time strength ability score, right? So if you need to lift, push, pull, drag something that's 150, that's what you can do, but once. It's a limited activity when you get this higher strength score. And I almost feel like there should be brackets of strength, right? So I feel like the difference between 10 and 20 is not linear. I feel like it's probably more exponential, or maybe perhaps a scale should all be lowered. So instead of 15, 10, because 150, that's kind of excessive for just someone who's not unhealthy. And maybe it should just be 100, right? Because I could probably lift 100, you could probably lift 100, but 150 would be a little bit of a different matter, right? I could probably do it. I'm gonna count myself as having a strength of 10, maybe a little bit higher. I'm out of shape right now because I just got out of AIT, so I haven't rucked in a long time. But I feel like I'm a good reflection of 10 strength, and I feel like I could probably lift 100 one time, maybe 2. So that's your standard and your QuickTime capacities, right? So 50 and 100, a 5 times multiplier and a 10 times multiplier respectively. So a pro tip before I go is DMs. Actually try this out. Actually put some weight on your back and actually go around for a little while. And I mean, you could spread it out across your body. I don't think the average medieval person, and I assume that's what you're going for as a fantasy setting, I don't think the average person would have that. I would just go straight up backpack on the back and load it up. And I want you guys to actually do this and go around if you can. If you don't have the time, if you don't have the access, that's fine. But to get a better feel for how these things would really be, just throw some weight on your back and walk around for a while. So that's a pro tip to make games a little more immersive. Anyways, goodbye, good luck, and have fun in your games.